this is just a short demonstration on how I'd set up a single line with a rope wrench to work position or access into a tree. So I isolated a limb up there, so what I'll then do is I'll tie a running bow line, and then that'll isolate the limb, so it's just 1-to-1 when I climb up there. But if I didn't isolate the limb, I could just do a base wrap, a base tie, and that would basically be the same thing, except then I'd have to get the groundy to untie it from the ground, but I want to undo it from up there, so I'm just going to isolate the limb with a running bow line. So I isolated an upper limb off there, which I'm happy with. And if you tie a running bow line and you pull it up to your anchor point, you can't retrieve it unless you have a long enough tail or a retrieval line attached to it. You can't retrieve it, so you have to be happy with your anchor point before you send it up there. Whereas with a base tie, if you sort of get off the ground and you're not happy with it, you can just untie your base anchor and just re-throw another line into a safer crotch. So this is how I'm gonna tie my running bow line. So I'm gonna do 2 wraps, and I'm gonna go around my line just like a normal bow line with some good tail. So it's a bow line with 2, instead of doing 1 turn on the loop on the rope, I just do 2 loops, and I just dress it so it's nice and tidy like that, and then I'll just clip a carabiner on here on my spliced end just as a stopper. So then I can just pull it up, isolate my limb. Okay, it's isolated up there. I'll do a little jump test just to make sure I'm happy with the anchor point. I'm happy with it. Okay, now I'm going to set up my rope wrench, and I'll show you how I tie the hitch and I set up my rope wrench. So this is a hitch someone from Tree Tools showed me, a guy called Drew. He said it's quite a new hitch, and he said he kind of designed it or made it up and named it. He named it an XT, and I really like it. It's just a variation of like a VT, but sort of wrapped a little bit differently. So 3 wraps around, equal on each side, and then actually that's too many, so then you come down with the back one over, and then you come back to the front, and instead of going back around the rope again, just wrap it around itself there. It's a little bit uneven. Wrap it around itself there, and then go like that. Then I go back again, but it's a bit uneven. Like that. So it's similar to a VT, but except instead of this one going over the rope like it did there, it crosses over itself, and that makes it a bit safer when you tend it. It doesn't spread apart as much. Hopefully you can see that. Now I'll tie it up with my hitch climber pulley. Dress it. So, can you see that? That's called an XT. It's a really nice hitch. I've used it about 3 times. And then this is my rope wrench, singing tree rope wrench, ZKY model, with a quick release pin at the front so I can attach midline. And what I've got here for my tether is just one of these like a 30mm strop, rated 22 kilonewton strop, but it's not life supporting for the tether, so it doesn't have to be rated, but it's good to have something rated. And so what I've done is I've just cinched it off both ends, cinched it off this bolt end, and then I have a quick release pin, and I've also cinched it off there. And that quick release pin just is small, so it's not a big carabiner, doesn't move around as much, and it doesn't have to be rated because it's not for life support, but it's strong, it's really strong. And that allows me to attach it to my hitch climber pulley, like this. Attach it into either the middle or the top eye, doesn't really matter for a rope wrench. I go top eye so that I can tend my whole system with my lanyard into the middle hole, makes it all a bit tidier. So that's how my setup looks, and it only really, the rope wrench only kicks in once you've dropped your hitch down a bit more, and then it all sort of kicks in. Now I'll give you a small demonstration on how I use my panton and tend my whole system with my hand for doing short ascents. So I'll hook it into my eye, my bridge eye, and then so the whole system's in work now, in use. Now to do a short ascent, instead of putting my hand ascender on and mucking around because that's a bit time consuming, click it into my panton, I stand on the rope, slide it up, and I sit back. Stand, slide, sit. That's how I do a short ascent. I'll show you my 2 lanyards that I have. This one here just has a cheap micro pulley. Not, well, it is rated, but I wouldn't climb on it. Just to tend my, again, an XT hitch, spliced eye, 3 meter Samson Master Blue. That's one of my lanyards, and the other one is a 5 meter piece of Samson braid. I think it's braid, super braid or something, Samson, with 2 stitched eyes. The one stitched eye is a stopper knot and axe. I can use it from the other end as well if I wanted to. And I have a Trango cinch, which just allows eliminates the sit back when you pulling yourself in, and works like this. Probably didn't make much sense, but it's handy having 5 meters. I can undo my daisy chain and use it as a redirect or muck around with it. But the cinch is great because it eliminates sit back and a bit more comfortable. If I'm spiking in on a limb and I'm concerned that having the pole straps on my 2 far rated eyes, if you're worried that the whole stem could split apart if I don't cut fast enough, or if I can't ball cut it, what I actually found I can do is attach the cinch. I don't know if it's legit, but attach the cinch and the whole thing onto my my bridge eye, hook it around the stem and hook it back onto itself. And because it's got so little sit back and it's so close to you, because I also have a shortened bridge that I replaced. It's a bit shorter, it's a bit closer to me. That whole thing can wrap around the stem, and you can still have your spike and you're still close enough to work on it. That way, if it did split out, well, I'd have my other lanyard hooked around here as well as a backup. That way, if it did want to split out, it's not going to pull you into the tree and kill you. It's going to just hopefully stop it from splitting out just by using that. Like that, and it's a bit more comfortable as well. So if I have my spikes on, I'm up there. That's maxed out without undoing the daisy chain. Brr, brr. Plus I'd have my other lanyard underneath here as a backup. So that's a little demonstration of how I sort of set up my single line into a tree and the lanyards I have. I've actually got to get into this tree now, so I better do some work. So stay safe, and the methods I use aren't necessarily the safest ways or the legitimate ways. So everything I showed you isn't for exactly how you should be doing it, and I'm not trying to train people either. It's just showing you the way I do things. So stay safe, and yeah,